Here's the thing about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart,
This is another great episode of the Film Review. We'll try 3. Facebook. This is another great episode of the Film Review. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracy.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have another great show for you today? As I get my cheat sheet over here real quick. Let me do this real quick too.
How was your week?
Oh man, my week is good. My week was good. How was yours?
Good. It was busy as usual. Busy.
I just want to tell you real quick. Instagram. We are on the Film Review on Crazy Dion on Facebook right now. So tune right in right now. We put the link right in the description. All right.
We have a great review today.
Yeah, we do.
We saw lots
great
of films.
Yeah, sure did.
Lots of films.
Lots of films.
Not all of them were great.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that. We're not gonna
but we saw lots of films.
Yeah, we saw.
So don't say great films.
yeah. We saw a lot of good things. You know. So let me say this first. The week was good. Can't complain on that. We're gonna be doing some recapping this week too. Let's see what we're gonna be talking about. First off, wait a minute. Where's my special effects here? First off, let me bring this up real quick. We want to say what's going on to. Let me put that in there.
Yep.
TC's barbecue crib. You see it. You pull back some, you can see the number right there. But they have officially come on to be an official advertisement partner to the Film Review. That's TC's barbecue crib.
Yeah.
And so make sure that you go on to Crazy D Film Dude. That's Crazy D Film Dude, and take your iPhone or Android free barcode scanner. Scan the barcode when you go into TC's and receive the discount for shopping at TC's barbecue crib. Right there, people. See that? TC's barbecue crib. All right, we got that out the way. They are our first advertisement sponsor.
Their food is delicious.
Okay, so where do we want to start? Well, we got a few topics we're going to go through today. We're going to talk about the CDP. Do they have a hard on for Jussie Smollett? The Mom movie. All hype, or did it exceed expectations? Godzilla movie.
Yep.
Is it the king of monster movies, or is it the king of getting your money out your pockets at the box office? Rocket Man.
Yep.
How does it stack up to Bohemian Rhapsody? Then we're going to talk about Dee Evans and the Juneteenth celebration that's coming up on June 19th right here in Las Vegas and across the United States.
Yep.
Then we're going to talk about our cameos during the Soul Central Magazine Awards that happened last weekend. I can't believe that was a whole week ago, man.
I know.
Time just flies
fast
when you're having fun.
Yeah. This week flew by fast.
It sure did. It really
24
did.
hours is not enough time.
24 hours is not enough time.
When you're busy, it's not enough time.
When you're busy, it's not enough time. Okay, so listen, people. Also, we have to talk about the Ava DuVernay.
Yeah.
When They See Us.
Yeah.
mini series
Yep.
that's happening on Netflix right now, which has to do with the Central Park 5.
Yes.
And I got a chance to interview Jussie Smollett, who is one of the survivors of the Central Park 5 wrongful prosecution.
Yeah.
What's
Hey,
going on,
Shani?
Shani? Thanks for chiming in. We got to interview that, and I have that link in the description within here. So after you finish watching us tonight, you can go watch the interview with Jussie Smollett that I conducted on him concerning the Central Park 5 and the actual rapist. You know, he actually talks about it, and it's a pretty good interview, if I must say so myself. You know, and I will say so myself. That's the way that is. Now, speaking of police departments, does the CDP, the Chicago Police Department, have a hard-on for Jussie Smollett?
Are you asking me? I say yes.
Okay, well, go ahead and expound on it a little bit.
Because it's just like, it's like they're beating and beating and beating and beating like a dead horse. It's like, kind of move on. How about putting that energy into cases, unsolved murders?
Right. A lot of those there.
Right, you know, and so how about putting that energy into that, you know? How about putting that energy into focusing on how to get rid of police brutality? How about that?
Or get rid of what I coined the patty roller mentality.
Right, so like, how about that? So just, it's crazy because it's like, to me, okay, they're upset because they couldn't prosecute Jussie Smollett. Hi, Pam.
Thanks for chiming in.
So, okay, so they're basically upset because they couldn't prosecute this man.
They could.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, what about all of these other people who are walking around, I was going to say the country, but let's say Chicago, who were not prosecuted, you know, for murdering innocent black women and men in Chicago, right? So what about all those cops who walked off?
Yeah, what about
from the multiple cases we've learned about, you know, so in the media, you know, or on Facebook or whatever other social media platforms, through the news. Just how about focusing on like that, like putting a mirror in front of yourselves and figure out what you need to do in your police department to stop it, because clearly there's an issue.
There is an issue.
So how about let's not focus on celebrity Jussie Smollett?
Yeah, let's focus on that. What we have to do as a group of people, for those who would choose to do it, is we have to stop looking at it and calling it police brutality. It is a system in place to go on ahead and to abuse. I mean, not to abuse, but to destroy a certain group of people. It's like this. Watching the When They See Us.
Yeah, clearly you're
miniseries.
right. There's a system. Shanine says Jussie should sue for harassment. Yeah, he should. But you're correct. There's clearly the system. So maybe we shouldn't say police brutality, because it is systematic throughout this. I'm going to say this country, but really not just this country. Throughout the world. So yeah, it is systematic. But go ahead.
I mean, it's systematic. So we know it when people actually get a chance to actually read the history and actually have an understanding or an overstanding of the history, you realize that every possible legislation, policy, the policy of benign neglect.
Yes.
Every time a black person says something happened, oh, that didn't happen. Come on, you're just imagining it. You need some kind of psychological help, right? Every time that happens, that's by design. So we have to begin to stop calling it police brutality and for what it is.
Stop giving out passes.
When you watch, it's like this. When the superintendent Johnson first got up there and did the first interview,
right? The
first press conference, I was like, oh, this is one of the best put together press conferences, because most of them are milquetoast and they seem disorganized, and it seems like they're trying to hide lies.
Until he went on his celebrity press run.
Yeah, then when he went on the celebrity press run, starting with Good Morning America,
right.
And what's her name?
Robin. Shanine said Trump and his camp are behind this, the Jussie Smollett thing. But yes, so when he went on this Robert Roberts, and don't get me started on Robert Roberts, but anyway.
Right. So he goes on there and they do their thing.
Right.
And, it's like, what are we looking at here? What are we seeing? He's going on TV, and all of a sudden he seems like he wants to be a celebrity.
Right.
So then that was strike one. Right. Okay, so then strike two came with Rahm Emanuel, as far as I'm concerned. And strike three comes out earlier last week, or later, however you want to say it, earlier this week or earlier last week, when he comes out and he says, and he comes back out in front of the cameras again. And he stands there and he's talking about how they're gonna go pretty much after Jussie Smollett, and he's talking about that there was a lot of man hours spent trying to figure out if trying to find the perpetrators, when in actuality they was trying to find out if it was true or not. But however you want to believe it, whichever way. Bottom line is, they want to go after this kid, and I'm sitting there looking at him, and he's manifest as a black man, but I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, does he do that much energy when there's young black boys that have been shot in the head, shot down in the street, and all the white officers have to say is,
I feel threatened.
Hey, what's going on, Nathan Scott? Thanks for chiming in. All the white officers have to say is, I felt threatened.
Or I saw a gun.
Or I saw a gun. But really, it's just, I feel threatened.
Yeah.
That's their whole thing. I feel threatened.
That's number one. And then the number two is they thought they saw a gun.
Yeah, but let's just stick with
the threat.
The threat, right? Yeah. I feel threatened. I felt threatened for my life, because that's why they're getting off.
Right.
Because see, they say that they found a gun, right? The reason why I'm throwing that out all together is because most of the time the people are unarmed. So they say, I thought I saw a weapon, but really their defense is, I felt threatened. I felt afraid for my life. And they're getting off on that.
Right.
I felt afraid for my life.
Right. Or are they standing their ground? Oh no, that's Florida, right?
That's civilians. We're talking about police
No, I was
officers.
thinking about Florida standing their grounds, killing black people.
Yeah, but we're talking about the police and CPD, and so CPD, he's standing up there, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, how much of a trained, in my opinion, SEAL do you have to be? I mean, like, really, like, you're sitting up there, these people are amongst you, and you're watching people who look like you get slammed in the street or getting roughed up to just going to a prison industrial complex to try to adhere to the 13th Amendment and what the 13th Amendment really means. There will be no legal slavery unless duly convicted of a crime. Okay. Well, if they can get you duly convicted of a crime, get you some kind of way to get messed up, if it's true or not, they'll put you under. So this is why they are truly upset with Jussie Smollett, because it appears all the other times that, in my opinion, they have trumped things up or gotten off because they said I was in fear for my life. Or
it didn't work this time.
No, what I'm saying is it appeared that they had a person that actually might have, I say might, because we have to say he's innocent until proven guilty. They're saying he's guilty without having a trial. But that he appears to seem to have done it. Right? And they're upset because for once a black body gets off that they weren't trying to set up, they were just trying to do crack police work, and that lets you know that they're not good at crack police work.
Shanine says, she says, coons don't think that way. You know what? I loved how
what you mean coons don't? Expand that on that, Shanine. What do you mean by coons don't think that way? I mean, I'm trying to say. I want to know what she means.
Talking about though. But the what is he? The police chief? You said, is that who this guy is?
He's the superintendent. They call police chief superintendent.
So he was on Good Morning America, CNN, with Don Lemon. And then I love how Don Lemon says to him at the end of the interview, well, our platform is here for you. So anytime you want to come back and talk about issues in Chicago, we're here. So I was just like, okay, that was some good shade thrown at him. Like, yeah, okay, so you on a celebrity press run, I know Don Lemon is saying, but yet there's been so many issues in Chicago that's been throughout the media, but you've never appeared on the show for that, but you want to show up for Jussie Smollett.
Right.
So I love when Don Lemon said that to him. I was just like...
That was pretty good.
So
I have to say so myself.
Yeah. Anytime you want to come back and discuss issues in Chicago.
Anytime.
Right.
You would want to come on and discuss. We are here to discuss that with you. But, he didn't want to do that, though, right? He didn't want to do that. So, the main point is, people, we have to stop. We can do whatever we want. I mean, people do whatever they want.
Right.
They believe how they want.
Right.
And they do what they do.
Right.
But I would say that we have to begin to look at life slightly different and differently, and start to call it what it is.
Right.
Call a coon a coon. Call a eugenicist a racist a racist. Call it what it is, and put it right there in front of people's faces, and let the chips fall where they may. That's what I say. So, in that aspect of it, Facebook is really playing with me today. They're trying to find a way. I've got a million stories to tell about how Facebook is kind of trying to change up the algorithm here, but we won't get into that right now. But anyway, so look. Do they have a hard on for Jussie? So I asked a question, and so I'm going to ask it. In particular, Superintendent Johnson and his European American cronies. In my opinion, yes, they do. To stand up, constantly beat this.
Right.
This is the one that got away.
Right.
All right? This is the one that got away, and after all the cover-ups that the media in Chicago covers, all the cover-ups that the activists in Chicago speak about, after all of it, you would dare stand up there and talk about Jussie Smollett and something that didn't cause any lives, because you're trained not to kill the invasion of the body snatchers. After all that, you would dare sit up there on television after you stand up in front of media and cover up for people murdering people who say that they have. If there is that much fear of their lives, they shouldn't be police officers in the black neighborhoods. It should be white police officers in the white neighborhood and black police officers in the black neighborhood. And if we don't believe, people, by this time, that the system is set up the way that it is, look at the black police officers who mistakenly kill a European American or a white individual,
and they're penalized.
They go to prison.
Right.
And then they'll say, well, look, there it is. There's the system working, right? Because the system was set up under the 13th Amendment to deal with those who were no longer needed because there was no longer free labor. What did Shanine say?
Shanine said, you said that you didn't understand how black people can see other blacks suffer. She said, coons don't care. They turn something in their souls off. She said they don't identify with black culture. She said Jussie's case is also a smokescreen to take poor people's mind off of real issues. Press that. She said, and they try to use that. They try to use that to make black people and she said gays look bad. So I was black people.
No. Remember now, Shanine. The only reason why we talk about this is because Jussie Smollett happens to be skin cam. But remember, he wasn't talking about gays. And most gays don't talk about black people. When black people are mangled in the streets, hey, what's going on, Tyler Jones? Most gay people don't even talk about that. The issue is not to talk about what's happening to
I think
black
she might
people.
be talking about when Jussie Smollett went on Good Morning America and he sat down with Robin Roberts. This is
was she there to make him look bad?
Before he was considered a suspect, he went on Good Morning America, and he talked about what happened, and he said that he was a representative for young gay boys and how
he wanted to be represented. He didn't say anything about young black gay boys. He said young gay boys. So he was talking about gay people. He was not talking about that. That race thing was just kind of thrown in there, which automatically made me say it seemed kind of suspect to me.
Yeah.
You know, that was me. You know, I said that seems suspect.
So, but now it's time for them to move on. I'm glad it didn't stay. People didn't bite on that. It didn't stay like in the media too long. You know, I'm just tired of Chicago with this Jussie Smollett. I mean, Shanine is right. There definitely is a smoke screen for other issues that need to be.
Yeah, they gotta let it go now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone too far.
Yep.
They've gone too far.
Too far.
Everybody's gone too far, and they should just let it go now.
Right.
I mean, like, he's the one that got away. Sorry, he's the person who was able to pull one off.
Right.
And get one off.
But you know, the mentality is now. Remember now what their mentality is. The mentality is what happened once the slave ran off the plantation. They chased behind them. There were slave catchers out there to catch them, and so that's the mind state.
Well, yeah, that they are patty rollers,
right?
So that's their mind.
So they just hate that this is one that got away,
and they don't want him to get away.
So, yeah.
And why? You know, my mom always told me trouble is easy to get into, but trouble is hard to get out of, and that's why Jussie. If he did do this, it appears that he did. He shouldn't have gotten himself into that type of trouble. He should have thought. He should have read a little bit more. He should have had counsel from people who would tell him the trouble is hard is what to get out of. And speaking of getting out of trouble, the Ava DuVernay, When They See Us.
Yes.
I interviewed Yusef Salaam. And he told the story of how it happened, and you can see that interview link within the description for the 60-second episode of the film review. We're on the 60-second episode. You can see that there after you finish watching us. But watching the first episode of this and watching how there's a rape that takes place for people who don't know. And this isn't a spoiler because this is in the news. So it's really finally showing you the young men's side who are now grown men who had to go through this turmoil all their lives. So it's finally showing their side of the story. So there's a rape that takes place, and then the police automatically want to round up young black men, young black boys. Yeah. Actually, if for whatever reason they wanted to do it, they wanted to do it. But this was, to me, by the way that it shot, it seemed like they just wanted to round up young black boys because
New York City.
It was that years of Bensonhurst and all that, and you know, the European Americans was just going totally ape and savage with their thought process. This is the year of Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Yeah. I mean, all of this is happening all at the same time in New York City. Yeah. And it looked like they just wanted to round up some young black men and get them going. Yeah. And then this is like maybe 4 or 5 years after the Atlanta child murders, right? Because that was mid-'80s, right? Early 80s, like 81, 82, 83. Yeah. And then you come into the later 80s, and so there's always been a hunt on for young black males in particular, and now it's starting to spread out now in these days into the hunt for young black women now, you know? So it looked like they wanted to pick them up and just have someone put some Negroes away under the 13th Amendment. Right. So they get them in there, and they don't allow them to have a lawyer. They don't allow them to have their parents in there. Right. The one time that the parent is in there, the parent is afraid for himself, and you have to watch that for yourself. We're not going to get that away because it's beautiful acting by Chalky White. I always call him Chalky White, right? Kenneth L. Williams, though, right? Yeah. That's his name, yeah. But so they put them in there, and they're interrogating them in When They See Us, which is the story. Finally, the young man's side, who are now men again, finally telling their side of the story, and they interrogate them, and then they get them to develop stories by feeding them. It's called rest deprivation and sleep deprivation, and making a person uncomfortable and wearing them out, wearing them until they finally will say what you say. So what did you say happened? You said that it was a tall, skinny black man that you had never seen before? Yeah, it was a skinny, tall black man I had never seen before. And they feed it to you, then they get you to sign it, or they got the parents to sign it, or the legal guardian to sign it, right? So
just imagine, under this pressure, adults can't handle being interrogated. So just imagine a child being interrogated in a room without a parent, a guardian, you know. So
yeah, I mean, it's a horrifying situation, and it's like the person who was not even there gets the most time, because once you watch it, he admits to something that he wasn't even there, right? And so, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's just the mind state. I think that people, whether you need to tell your children, nieces, nephews, cousins, friends, neighbors, tell your grandparents, tell your sisters, brothers, anybody that may be raising a child, and they're not even just children, just passing on to friends, like within the community. Attorney. I need an attorney. It's a very important word. I am not going to say anything unless I have an attorney.
That's right.
I mean, so it's just like when people are in a car accident, what's the very first thing they say? Oh, I'm going to get an attorney. I'm going to sue.
Right.
Right? So that's the same mind state that we need to have when you are, or family members are pulled in by the police department to be interrogated. Right. So this whole protect and serve, wake up. It's just not to protect and serve us. It's to protect and serve property. That's what the protect and serve is, but not human
That's
beings.
right. It's landowners. It's the
Right.
protect and serve
Right.
landowners.
Right. So people need to like wake up and just people need to school each other to, and it was just so sad and just frustrating watching episode 1 because
right.
it's just like the police department, they just ran rings around people. They ran rings around the mothers, the fathers, the grandparents, just like the siblings. Like they were just like running rings around.
Like I don't understand what it was. Like you have the teachings of the Nation of Islam. You had Spike Lee out there telling stories within film. And how is it that people can fall into situations like that and they're not watching or listening to what's around them? Like it's right there, they're telling you what it is, and you will fall into that. It's
I
really
think, but
weird.
people just remember now in school, even as a child, on career day, who they bring to you in the classroom, they bring a police officer or other career people to, like firefighters or whatever. But you are taught that the police, they're your friends, right? So there's a bad apple in every bunch. True, right? Well, but the mind state has to be moving forward. Christmas dinners, Thanksgiving, family cookouts, whatever. It needs to be said, it needs to be pushed within the black community. Do not talk or say anything unless you have a representative of an attorney.
A lawyer.
A lawyer.
Ask for a lawyer.
I mean, because what kills me is like after they badger these kids and have them sign off as well as their parents on like these false allegations, then they say you have a right to an attorney, like afterwards. Like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know, we just don't have the what's the word, we don't have the we can't play.
We don't have the time
Luxury.
to play.
We don't have the luxury to
play around
in this day and time, right?
No, we don't.
So what happened to them was horrible. And what's so frustrating is I'm watching it and I'm thinking, this shit is happening right now somewhere in this fucking country.
Somewhere in this country.
Right? To some innocent person, right?
People say it's not going to happen to me.
So it's not just the what we watching on the documentary, well, we've seen the Central Park 5 documentary, but it's not just what we're seeing on Netflix, Ava DuVernay's series. It's not just that. Like, it's not, the shit's not entertainment, people. Like, it's happening right now. To people you may know or people you don't know. It could happen to your child, teenagers driving, whatever, or it could be a little kid. I mean, a little kid, Tamir Rice in Cleveland was minding his own business, little boy in a park,
playing with a toy gun.
A little kid in a park.
That's right.
So I mean, it can happen anywhere, anytime. We just saw last week, or was it the week before last, when the police took a little boy and they put a plastic bag over his head.
Sure did.
So it's not about age.
No, it's not.
So we need to start educating each other.
I mean, the truth is, the knowledge has been out there, and I don't know if it's a subsect of black people in this country that just aren't listening, but they told you that anybody who reads, who has read and has studied the situation, once you no longer were property to be able to build things for free, to plant and cultivate for free.
Right.
When you no longer were valuable, they were trying to find a way to get rid of you, and the people didn't know anything more about Africa because they had stripped the culture, the religion, the God away, stripped your name away. So So you didn't know anything about that. So most of the people said, well, I'm American. I'm here. I built this boy.
Right.
And so I'm here and say, okay, well, we can't do it that way. So let's mess around with legislation to be able to put people away. But now even the prison systems are overpacked because, you know, when they do it to one group of people, which is black people, when they do stuff with black people, automatically it comes and goes and hits their people as well, which is really not their people because they don't really see poor whites as their people. They just use them, right? So we're just now starting to watch that, and I don't know if we want to watch it, binge watch it, because it's just
you have to break it up.
Because you have to break it up as if it's a week, as if it's a week-to-week show, because it's just too dang frustrating. It really is, because you'll be at the TV saying, no, don't do that.
You know what's frustrating for me is like with other black people, like other black people will say, oh, I don't want to talk about that black stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, you know, and they're like, oh, Louis Farrakhan, he's just, you know, and I'm like, like, are y'all fucking kidding me? You know, but then when something happens, the first thing they want to be on some black stuff. Then you was the most anti-black. We're not talking about Ava DuVernay's show now. We're talking about just people in everyday life.
Well, I mean, that would be, we don't know what.
Yeah, but no, but what I'm talking about myself here is people that I know or have interacted with, you know, whether it's in a work environment, personal environment, you know, and how, you know, people say, oh, black stuff. I don't talk about the black stuff, you know, so, okay. But then when something happens, you know, I've seen this at work. This one person was just so anti-black. Now, mind you, this is a black person. But as soon as something happens on the job, they ready to go down, they go down to HR and I'm discriminated against because I'm black. Oh, now you black? Because it's convenient. Oh, now you're being discriminated against because it's convenient. Kind of like with some immigrants. Oh, I'm not black. You know, I'm from, you know, whether it's a country, one of the countries in Africa, or
Nigeria,
whether it's, or one of the countries in somewhere in Mexico or wherever, right? Oh, I'm not black. I'm such and such. But as soon as something happens,
oh, they want to say, brother, we're
I'm
together.
being discriminated against because now I'm black. So then now I need to reach out to Al Sharpton and the NAACP and now mind you wasn't black before.
Wasn't black.
But all of a sudden now, so I'm just like tired of people about convenient. When it's convenient to be black or when it's convenient to stand up and fight for something, I just find that it's easier for some people to look the other way until something happens to them. So, you know, that's just frustrating because you know better. Because you're making a conservative effort to you're making a concerted effort to turn a blind eye to what's going on until an issue knocks on your door.
Because white Jesus is going to see us through.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then I've heard some black people, they don't even want to deal with issues. The first thing they do is run to a religion. And I'm like, we wasn't talking about religion. We were talking about this issue. But no, I'm talking about God and loving God and people. Well, that has nothing to do with...
God don't have no color.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? You know, so people are just so... Yeah, you can be... okay, so if we want to go there, Martin Luther King was a pastor, right? And so... Shanine says it's not white Jesus. Martin Luther King was a pastor, right? But he stood for something and he fought for his people. So I'm thinking to myself, well, what's your fucking excuse? So you want to hang on religion and turn a blind eye to what's going on in this world, right? But yet you admire Martin Luther King and what he stood for. You're not no more religious than him. He knew the Bible like the back of his hand. I'm sure you don't.
Yeah, and you.
So I mean, I just look at people in their what is it, hypocrisy?
Yeah.
And their idiocy, and I'm just like, you know, but whatever.
Right. which gets us so as far as filming is concerned, far as storytelling is concerned, far as getting the point of
She
view
did a
out
great job.
across, as far as that,
DuVernay
the lighting, the period
the
in which it
costume
is,
design,
finding all of those 1985,
clothing.
88, 89 cop cars.
Yeah. And the clothing and the hairstyles.
And the hairstyles.
Yeah.
Totally on point.
The music. It opened up with Public Enemy.
Yeah, sure it did. And so, you know, that's letting you know how they set up the time period.
Yeah.
Through music.
Right.
Right? Beautifully done. What would you give it right now?
Right now, I'll give it a 10.
I give it a 10 too. As far as the acting of the
hello, Michael.
Hey, what's going on, Michael? Thanks for chiming in. As far as the acting from the European American actors, I don't know how much acting that really was. So I had to give them like a 2. Because, you know, and then Felicity Huffman.
You know what? Felicity Huffman did like such a great job playing that part. I was just pissed looking at her, and that just made me think about what she's going through right now.
Yeah, that doesn't do good.
Because she's with
she probably thought she was gonna get
and I'm just like
award for that role.
So you were an ass, and you're playing the part of the character of an ass. Because this woman had a hard on going after those children.
Sure did.
And so, but in real life, Felicity Huffman is dealing with the issue, the scandal with the scholarships for her children. So, or child, her daughter. Yeah. But so I'm like watching this, and then when Felicity Huffman's character, not just the character, it's real life woman. I had her name written down. I'm just so pissed from looking at it. But anyway, so this woman had a hard on going after these children, and it's just like the evidence is there. You know, you're watching this and you're seeing how, okay, they look innocent, right? Mm-hmm. But she's like, well, no, didn't you hear what the ones when they said, well, if we push the timeline back, right. And I'm like, okay, so you purposely messing with evidence. Right. But then when she said that at the scene of the rape was the footprint, right? Okay, so that gives you the tennis shoe size. Okay, so you're telling me all of those kids have the same size tennis shoe as this?
And it's only one footprint?
Only one footprint, but it's like 5 children. I mean, it's just like, it was just, but anyway.
Right. So
they should press charges against this woman that did that, because clearly, isn't it against the law to tamper with evidence?
Well, on the documentary, she still says that she believes they did it.
Oh, she was tampering with evidence.
The main point is, like, I don't know how delusional a group of people can be, but of course you can be delusional when you're trying to remain on top. Right? You can be
Shanice
delusional.
said blatant racism. And speaking of, okay, so what about the woman that's still alive that lied on Emmett Till? The woman that's still alive. Shanice, I think she's in she is in Mississippi, matter of fact. This woman's still alive. Okay. So isn't that she lied? Shouldn't Emmett Till's family be able to press charges against her? I mean, so they pick and choose. You know, they...
Yeah, you know, they
I mean, so...
Because, you know, we're talking about with Tiny and
Chicago
PD.
Is Justice blind?
No, Chicago PD, how they're wanting to go after Jussie Smollett because they said he owes $130,000. Well, how much manpower did it take to investigate the case about Emmett Till? And she was lying, and now she came out to tell the truth. Somebody should be there getting some money.
I mean, justice is not blind. I'm just like, okay, so Bill Cosby is in jail, but I'm remembering during this whole Me Too movement when it kicked off, how many celebrities and directors who were accused of, some were accused of rape as well, and drugging women as well. But I'm trying to figure out why Bill Cosby's the only one in jail. So is justice blind? No.
Oh, look like justice lifting up its thing there. So, other than that, you know, watch it. You get the historical. You get it from that side. Make sure you watch Yusef Salaam. He's I put the link right in this description here, so you can watch it right after we finish. He's actually one of the surviving members of the Central Park 5, which gets us to another topic that has to do with black people. It has to do with reparations.
Okay.
Right? One, and it has to do with June 19th.
Right.
Which is Juneteenth. They called it Juneteenth and put it on June 19th because they really didn't know exactly the date. Right. But that's when the Union Army went into Galveston, Texas, and let the black bodies, the people, know that they were free, because somewhere in there they didn't get the memo, right. And the people in Texas were not giving them the memo. These are the same people who have taken slavery out there. These are the same people, generations, who have taken slavery out the history books. They want to ignore what they've done. They just want to make it seem as if black people, that the black male or the black female or a black body is somehow just criminal, right? So they have taken out the history books and said that it was a farming something or rigmarole or something or another, right? So now, when you hear that and you see how they've taken it out of the history books in Texas, and you know what happens in parts, especially starting on the West Coast, that's the South though, but when it starts to spread across the rest of the country. So this is a plan, you know, to try to take away something, right? And my thing is, we're gonna be celebrating Juneteenth on the 19th here in Las Vegas, and Dee Evans was on Like It Is Radio. Matter of fact, you can see that in the Juneteenth celebration. Search Juneteenth celebration, and there is a national organization where you can join and learn more about Juneteenth. It's on Facebook. But Dee Evans came on, and Dee Evans broke down what Juneteenth is all about and what's going to be happening in Las Vegas for Juneteenth. And I have that posted on my page, and I have exactly, she starts at like 46 minutes in, and either 45 minutes and 34 seconds in, or 36 minutes and 34 seconds in. She begins right there on that presentation of Like It Is, and she talks about Juneteenth. So Juneteenth leads into talking about reparations. And the reason why we need reparations, people, is not, let's take slavery out of it. Let's take 1619. Matter of fact, this is 1619. It was 1619. This is 400 years. This is 2019. This is exactly 400 years since the first 20 slaves came to Virginia. Now, I haven't seen much to do about that. The media hasn't talked about it. No stories have come across the whole thing. I bet you if it was a black president in there, they would do it. That's what lets you know that, in my opinion, the media is racist.
Oh, they're busy talking about Jussie Smollett. But check out on YouTube, go to Yvette Cornell's page.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. What's it called? Chatting Brown or Speaking Brown, something like that.
Breaking Brown.
Breaking Brown, that's it. Make sure you go there, because she's breaking down about the ADOS and reparations. Because, you know, anyone who says that we don't need reparations, well then, I'll take your share. All right? We don't need reparations. We can do it all. You know, we don't need no handouts. Well, let me see. The farming community were getting handouts all the time. Matter of fact, before Martin Luther King was assassinated, he was talking about how the farmers were getting subsidies and land grants and all that, where they didn't have to pay back. He was talking about that. So all throughout history, this is going back to the policies of a country and the legislation of a country that practices benign neglect towards a group of people, won't give them the same opportunities that they would do their own. And see, so this is what it is, and so this is why reparations has to be paid from 1619
Right.
all the way up through 1965,
Right.
all the way up through till today, because
Right.
in between all that, they have had legislation and have created situations through policies
Right.
that hold black people down. And so now you have to go ahead and pay that, because until, I can tell you this, until black people are put into their rightful place in this country for building this country,
Right.
until that, the country will not be as great as it can be,
Right.
because the immigrants coming in can't do it because
Right.
they don't know it.
Right.
They don't know it. Like, a perfect example.
Oh, before you get
Go ahead, go
before
ahead,
that
go ahead.
thought, Shanine said the media is busy trying to persecute MJ's ghost. Yeah. But yeah. So
You got
speaking
that
of the, what was your thought? What
Okay.
were you saying?
We went over some people's houses one day. That's when we first got out here. And so a guy comes and sits down beside me, and he's talking to me, and we're over this person's house. Now, I thought that the people were Mexican. I thought everybody was Mexican,
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
I thought everybody was Mexican. You know, this was like, you know, you meet new people, you go over there. So we were meeting new people when we first moved out here. So we went over there for a holiday.
Right.
I think it was 4th of July, right? And the people were celebrating 4th of July. Okay. So we were over there, and you know, they were cooking on the grill and all that. And the person sat down beside me. Now, he was a European American, right? And he sat down beside me, and he was saying, you know, he had a plate in his hand. And he was eating. He says, you know, I never ever ate any of the Filipino food before. And I looked around. I said, wait a minute. I thought these people we were around were Mexican. Where I found out that it was Mexican Filipino people who had married, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm like, okay. And so he was like, I never did that. You know, I've never been around any Filipino people. Now, he's sitting by me now. Anyone who knows me, and they really know me, I would be the wrong person to be sitting down having a racist chat with. I would just call it that, a racist chat. But this goes to show you this. What we as a group of people need to understand what this whole thing is about. He's eating the people's food, but he felt more comfortable sitting down next to a black man, talking, having this conversation than he would sitting by the Filipino and the Mexican people, right? Because his thing is that,
Not to cut you off, but it was like a lot of people. It was a lot of chairs. It was so many other places that he could have said.
Yeah, he just came
But when
right
I looked over and I saw him talking to you, and he was just talking to you and talking to you, I said, "Oh, they must be having a good conversation." But
yeah, I mean, I was learning a
he
lot.
sought you out and he planted himself down with his
so
food.
This right, he sat down with the food and he held a conversation with me. You know, I'm sitting there. My mouth could have been wide open, you know. My mouth probably my eyes was probably like teacups. Like, what? No, it wasn't like teacups. I wasn't boiling my eyes. But anyway, listen. So he's sitting there having this conversation with me, and I'm saying I'm like the wrong person to have this conversation with, right? Because, you know, anyone knows me, you know, I'm not into that race talking. Now, then I would have been, if he didn't know, I would have been more on their side, because I thought, you know, melanin, brown skin, black, brown, yellow, they stick together. Since the years of President Obama, and we've seen people flip out and take on conservative thought processes, I totally think different. Now, this guy, he was sitting there and he was talking, but my point is, and what we need to learn as a group of people is that white people who are into bigotry and racism know that this whole discussion that's going on globally is about black and white. That's what it's all. That's what it's about. That's all it's about. And everybody else is just in the middle for the people, for the ones that are in power to use as pawns against people who they should be for, black people. That's what this is. This is what this is all about. So everybody else is just pawns in the game, and then there's some black people who choose to be pawns in the game, right? And so him sitting down and talking to me, that informed me on that fact, because I had thought of that, but this informed me that he felt more comfortable because we, as embodying what we were, each were, one white, one black, we embodied that particular struggle, and thus we've been in it for 6,000 years. We've been in this struggle for 6,000 years. So he would sit down and talk to me because I would be considered to him more akin to him and understanding the larger politic than someone who are just trying to get along, trying to get a foothold.
She said, great point.
Right. So this is so it was an epiphany to me, but I had thought that, but he solidified it for me. So sitting down as who we were embodying, you know, the 6,000 years of this has been going on. You know, it was shocking. So just to say the least. So that gets back to what we're talking about as far as as far as reparations is concerned.
Well, let me say real quick. My point on reparations is it's just as simple as this. Okay, so Jewish people, they did not say, "Oh no, we don't want reparations because of what happened to our people and to some of us because of the Holocaust."
Right.
When they gave them reparations, right? They didn't say no. The Japanese didn't say no to receiving, or nor did the Jewish people when they asked for and received reparations, right? Because the Japanese in internment camps here in America, right? They didn't say no to reparations.
Right.
They asked for their reparations. They didn't say no. So for the black people who say, "Oh, we don't need reparations," I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm trying not to curse because I'm just like so tired of people being stupid. Like, I'm like, it's like the stupid overload is just like, it's just been irritating me like this last couple of.
Mike Hinton said, "What's up?"
Hey, Mike.
The Will Smith movie, what about it? Gemini Man, we're going to be reviewing it.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
But the duplicity of men and how, well, anyway.
But
Yakub.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, so it's just like, you know, frustrating. So this whole black people say, "Oh, we don't need reparations." Like, yeah, the Japanese and Jewish people, they made sure they got their reparations.
Michael Hinton said, ADOS, yes. Justice kind of
like,
blind, more like selective.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand people sometimes and the stupid shit that they do and say and the way they move. It's just frustrating. So either people better start waking up, or they just gonna like some people are saying, leave them behind. Either people gonna start waking up, or some people just gonna get left behind. So it's just sad, because to me it's just selective. People are being selective, you know. So, you know, I just see it with other groups of people. Like, people, they turn their back when they see what's happening to people in the black community, right? But then when something happens to them in their community, then that's when they're running to the NAACP in the black community saying, "Oh, we're all black and brown," or, you know, "we're all minorities. Okay, so now we're minorities when something happens to you or in your community, like when Trump got in office and when they talked about all of the racist crimes throughout the country to different groups of people, like whether they were Muslims or Latinos or Asians or all groups of people, right? Mm-hmm. And they said that the whatchamacallit was really high. What did they say? Like racist crimes against people of all colors. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, we're watching new MSNBC or CNN, and we're seeing all these other groups saying how they're being persecuted. So now everybody want to get together and be in a coalition when it's convenient for them. But then when something happens in the black community, then everybody's hands off. But then when something happens to them, then they're reaching out to the black community. So I'm just like...
So it's benign neglect.
Tired of the shit.
That's what it is, right?
Shanine says, I'm glad no black person has told me that. I would go off. We need reparations and then some. Yeah.
Yeah, we need reparations. And until they give reparations, the country will not be as great. Look at the infrastructure, for instance. We built this, and the infrastructure is falling apart, right?
Right.
Because obviously they didn't have the skilled artisans. Right. And see, what they're afraid of is once they put us back through it, if we were to get the proper education, the light bulbs would turn back on. And when the light bulbs start turning back on, right, then it would be like an unstoppable force. It'd be like, so that's what they're afraid of.
Yeah. And I'm afraid that a lot of people don't have common sense. If you like kind of sit back and then you look at people.
Michael Hinton said Breaking Brown. That's what Cornell's show is called. Breaking Brown. Go ahead.
So you just look back and you just come to the conclusion, and I've heard it said before, and I'm starting to be in agreement that a lot of people just don't have common sense. Because you look at the decisions that people like make, and it's just like, and when people make excuses for racist stuff, and then again, I'm talking about black people, when they see something happen and they have an excuse for it. Oh, well, it's because the boys walk around with their pants down. That's why they got knocked upside their head. Or listen to this. Or, oh, look how that girl was dressing. She was dressing like a slut, so that's why she got treated the way she did. You know? So, I mean, people just, they make excuses for it. No, nobody should be persecuted, you know, by anyone because of the way they dress or how they look. Or, I mean, you know, it's just... So, do you not have common sense and just realize that was wrong? Like, it's wrong for a policeman to just pull up and shoot a little boy in a park playing with a freaking toy gun. Oh, well, that gun looked like it could have been real. Okay, how many little kids play cops and robbers with toy guns?
It's the time element of it, though. There was no time to say freeze. There was no time.
Yeah, they didn't say freeze. They just pulled up and shot.
He pulled up and shot. It was...
Now, mind you, this was done by a policeman who had just been let go
from another department for disciplinary,
right, and
mental issues.
And they said that he wasn't mentally capable to be a policeman, right? And then the Cleveland police hires this man. Like, did y'all not like follow up? I thought every job did a background check. And check references. So he literally jumped out the police car and shot this little boy. So he was killing this little black boy because he was a black little kid.
That's all.
So, I mean, and it's just, people will make excuses. So I don't know if people just don't have common sense.
Now, he was a black little boy, but then he was like, he looked like a man. Now, wait a minute, how tall was the little boy? Now, he looked like a man? Come on. Really? How about the 138 shots?
I don't know if people just are lacking common sense, or if Shanine said
here's
on there cooning, cooning or not having common sense. Which of the C's is it?
Who's the lack of
cooning or no common sense?
Here's the lack of common sense right here. What about the cops that shot the man and woman, the black man and woman in their car? 138 shots into the car. Dude stood up on top of the hood of the car and was shooting into the glass of into the front window.
Like it was a
Right.
damn Hollywood film.
Right. Like, and he was shooting it. They were talking about we were afraid because it sounded like they were shooting back at us, and they said it must have been the sound effect of the buildings reverberating their gunshots. Like, you know if somebody is moving out. So I mean, it's like.
How about the couple that was in the car a few weeks ago at the college? I can't even think of the name of the college. And they were sitting in the car chilling, and the police pulled up and shot them. Killed. And this was a few weeks ago. So, I mean, it's just like, they're just intentionally shooting people.
So why don't we say that they just aren't they are mentally deficient and really cannot do the job when they think like gorillas.
Yeah,
When they think like chimpanzees,
right.
They really cannot do the job.
Shanice said cooning, cowardice, no common sense, no soul. Yeah, so, I mean, so just...
Yeah, it's a question. Will you celebrate Juneteenth or the 4th of July? That's what Michael Hinton said.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's a question for you people, because you probably know the question, right. You know the answer for us. We definitely celebrate Memorial Day, because Memorial Day was created by ex-slaves whose family members fought in the Civil War, and it was to commemorate the loss, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, the other people had some kind of Confederate Day going on. We don't know what's going on, so they just kind of co-opted it and took it on. And I wonder if they knew half of the majority of the things that they celebrate that came from us. Would they still celebrate it?
They don't care. They'll use any excuse to
drink. I mean, I'm just saying. Okay. So now, people, last week, I can't believe the week passed so fast, but just last week was the Soul Central Magazine Awards that were held in Las Vegas. And we were there, and we had some cameo appearances on various people's platforms to do media, right? We were on Vegas Live with Ninon, and when you go there, she hasn't put the video interview portion up though. Mm-hmm. But if you go to her Facebook page, live with Vegas Live with Ninon, you will see the slideshow. They're like 15 seconds long. You go to the third one, and you'll see my wife and her. My wife, I, and her pitched together in one of the stills that came from off of the interview. So you can look out for that. Then we were on Tamara Hunter's Service Heroes. Okay. And when you go to Tamara Hunter Service Heroes, you'll see her video listed for the Soul Central Soul Central Magazine Awards, and then you scroll in 9 minutes and 1 second in, and you will see us, and we interview and we talk about the loss of loved ones due to cancer, because that's what her Service Heroes is about. It's about survivors and those who survived cancer, and those who are family members whose family members have survived cancer and who have lost cancer members of their family, loved ones due to cancer. So you'll see us there 9 minutes and 1 second in. And then we did Trese Nicole. Yes. I was interviewed on there at TC's. It's for the Soul Central Magazine Awards meet and greet. Yeah. You'll see that on her page, Trese Nicole, and that is I come on in at 29 minutes and 48 seconds in, right? And then we were there at TC's Rib Crib, which again is our first advertisement partner. We were there where the Soul Central Magazine Awards meet and greet was held. We were there, and MsMichelle was there, and she did an impromptu video. I come in at 39 seconds in. My wife and I come in 39 seconds in, and you will see an interview that that I did on her platform.
Right.
You know, we were just chewing the fat and talking about different situations and praise dancing and everything. We talked about TC's barbecue crib, right? And you would talk about that. We also did another interview with Shantae Gibson, but I haven't been able to locate that yet. And she could send me the link so that I can pub it up and talk about when I come in and we're interviewed, and that'll be good. So we're looking for that one because it was a lot of different platforms we went on, and we go on those so that we can then push and say, yeah, we were on there, right? So so that was a great weekend. And also when you watch the service providers by Tamara Hunter, she actually has the first few performances of it, and plus you can get to see where it was held. It was a nice facility where it was held in Las Vegas. It's a hidden gem, I'll say. So stay tuned for all that. Go check us out. You get to see a different side of us as we talk about different topics other than what we talk about on the Film Review Music Review Show. Now, the Film Review Music Review Show is out. Volume 2 is playing right now. You can go right on to Crazy D Film Dude and scan one of the barcodes on the images that advertises about that, and it will take you straight to the page, and you'll be able to watch the Film Review Music Review Show, right? So we'll say that. Now we come down to what we're known best for. After going through and talking about situations that all tie in together, from the Central Park 5 when they see us, to reparations, to Juneteenth, to the hierarchy of this race between black and white. We went through all that. Now we come to talking about Ma. Okay. The film
starring Octavia Spencer.
That's right. So Octavia Spencer is
your review.
Octavia Spencer is a
great actress.
Okay, I'm telling the story.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Octavia
she's a great actress. That's about it.
Octavia Spencer is a spinster type woman in this piece, and she goes by the title Mom,
which was given to her by one of the kids. And then the rest of them
stepped out. Mom, can you get this for us, Mom? And so she went in there and she got this for him. Okay, so you don't know what's going on with her, right? The film itself is disjointed, and there's loose ends left out everywhere. I'll say that from the point. Is it worth the hype?
No.
Or does it exceed?
Shani says Facebook is racist as hell. Yeah.
Or does it exceed expectations? Matter of fact, I knew my lighting was right. The first recording, they fucked up the lighting.
They had it like darker.
They had it darker, yeah. But now, see, this is my lighting. I knew my lighting was right. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, look. So, Octavia Spencer, we're giving them entertainment that they're putting ad dollar to.
Making billions of dollars.
So, no matter what is said, they're going to make money off of it in a market. In the marketplace somewhere. So for them to go on in and be doing this constant cutting, I can't wait until somebody black comes up with
peons at Facebook.
I can't wait until black people come up with a platform that has an interface where you can stream live, and we can just leave all these yokels.
Yeah, it's being worked on. Shanine says they don't tell her background in the film. They give you hey Mark.
Hey, what's going on, Mark Cox? Thanks for chiming in.
They give you
they
some background in the film.
Yeah, they give you,
They do set up the story. It's set up well. It's just
no. I don't think the story is set up well at all. And I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Everything that you learn about her is.
We're talking about Ma, Octavia Spencer's film.
Right, and everything that's talked about is everything that you learn about her is learned in the flashback, right?
Right.
And what this is to me is a cautionary bed winch tale.
Oh my gosh.
It is. This woman was where her psychosis comes from is something happens to her as a child, as a teenager,
right,
in high school,
right,
and from that incident in high school, she becomes psychologically disturbed, I'll say, right? This is Ma, starring Octavia Spencer, right? But this is the whole thing. What people don't seem to understand. She's living in this small hick town,
right,
but she's got a nice house,
right.
She's got she's built herself up well,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And she's just totally spaced out. So when she gets a chance,
right,
something triggers a name,
right,
on a vehicle, triggers her memory, and then she goes off into this revenge type narrative. But the main point is her revenge is short-sighted, is short-lived,
right.
And even her own daughter is against her. I mean, I'm just saying, even her own daughter is against her, right? And so I'm not telling them because they don't know where the daughter comes.
Okay.
Right. So, but you know.
But the cinematography is good.
The cinematography is good. You
mentioned Alfred Hitchcock, kind of.
Yeah. Some of the scenes were Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock and what is his name from Citizen Kane?
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. Deep focus.
Right.
Right. Very well done. The cinematography is very well done.
Yeah.
The
directing, what you think?
I mean, I guess it's all right. I just think there was a flaw in the storyline, and I don't think that they were ready to allow a black person to get loose. Yeah. And that's what I'll say.
Yeah,
about
I think
that.
it would have been better appeal, right?
And that's right. And that's where it falls short, right? Because because even in Peele's film Us,
right,
you don't see Winston Duke actually kill the white doppelganger.
Right, it's written well.
But I'm saying you don't actually see it, so he realizes that people are not ready to see a black person on screen murder up some people, and then in the end, there has to be some comeuppance, and the person has to. It has to be shown where the plan was not well thought out.
Now, if it was Rob Zombie Ma, that would have been off the chain.
But Rob Zombie Ma wouldn't be black.
No, but I'm saying if it was Octavia Spencer,
if
he was hired to direct it, he's still gonna have that bloody gore stuff.
Yeah, going through it.
Right.
Like she just she was playing around, and I mean it was just it was not worth the hype. They say from the producers of Us and Get Out, but I almost felt like I should have got up and got out the movie theater.
You was gonna get up.
You know
and
what I'm
get
saying?
out.
I should have got up and gotten the hell out of the line.
What would you give it?
I'm gonna be kind and give it a 6.
Okay.
What would you give it?
I would give it a 6. First of all, Octavia Spencer's acting was great because she went out of range. I'm not used to her acting the way her character is in this film. She was like loose and dancing and cussing, and so she was great.
But at the time, she could turn on a dime and be something.
Yeah,
else.
she was like 1 minute she was, and then next minute she would go into crazy mode. Like her acting was great. The acting is a 10. She gets a 10. But I feel the directing for me, it wasn't. I mean, they were blessed to have Octavia Spencer, which took it up. But I would give it a 6. I mean, I would give it a 6. Like the writing, I mean, it could have been better. It was just like all over the place, kinda. I would give it a 6. So
yeah, it was. It's a 6. Okay, so we saw a lot of movies because this was movie weekend.
Yeah. So this,
kicking off the pre-summer situation. So the next movie that we saw was Godzilla movie, and I asked the question: was it truly the king of the monsters movie, or was it the king of taking your money out your pocket at the box office? And so let's run through this real quick. Okay, so we open up, and this movie was a long drag.
well, if we're talking about King of the Monsters, I think King Kong was better. But anyway, go ahead.
No, okay, so
The last King one was Samuel Jackson.
With Samuel Jackson, okay.
Right, that one.
So this is a long. It's long, people. It's long. It's long. I mean, it's like, we're used to an hour. The Western American market is used to an hour 45 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, hour 45 minutes tops. This movie went about 2 hours and some minutes, right? And there's some movies that go 2 hours and some minutes, and you don't even know that you've been in the theater that long.
Because it's so great. And
but it's so many
doldrums
doldrums in this film, and it's so much unbelievable BS in it. First of all, it's some kind of romance. Like somehow they threw a romantic story in this piece, and they threw a family dynamic piece in it. Now you got a romance between a moth and a dinosaur. Now I mean, you'll see it for yourself. A moth and a dinosaur.
Shanae says, I don't want to see either one of them.
Listen. Moth and a dinosaur, that's one thing. Second, there's a family dynamic because, this is the years of Me Too, so instead of having a young male lead, like a teenage male lead that's going on doing things, they have to change it up and make it a young female teenage lead that's doing everything. So something happens at the beginning, and one of the siblings.
Go ahead. It took forever to kick off, first of all.
Right. And so you find out, it opens up, and you see this flashback happen. How you know it's a flashback? Because it comes to time, and the mama was thinking, or the daughter was thinking. One of them was thinking. It was so discombobulating.
Godzilla wasn't even the star of the film.
I mean, he wasn't the star.
They took forever to get to the damn Godzilla. I almost fell asleep.
It was like, I don't know what was going on, but anyway. So then the mama comes up with this box that you find out in the movie was a college thesis that she brought to reality, and so she got this thing where it can control sound. So the first thing or creature you see is coming from out of a cocoon, right? And it's a caterpillar, and the caterpillar is coming out, and then the people say, you're scaring her. The woman say, you're scaring her. And then at first you think that the thing is gonna get down, but it don't get down. And then she turns on this machine and goes, oh,
anyway,
oh, and then the thing calms down. But then all of a sudden, some people come in, and then you don't know what's going on. Next thing you know, the woman is with it, right? With the sinister plan. And the whole thing is,
it's hard to explain.
Yeah, no, it's very simple to explain. You will see it. But so we're gonna give some spoilers because you can still go see this, but we're gonna give some spoilers. Listen, so the person has this plan because they lost their loved one, right? So they decide they're gonna go on ahead and release all these creatures to cleanse the earth from the virus. And you know who the virus is, people? Mankind. Mankind is the virus. So they're gonna release it, but somewhere they release extraterrestrial, and yes, there's an extraterrestrial in this piece. So not only do you have a moth in love with a dinosaur, but you have an extraterrestrial that can regenerate. I mean, it's just all mixed up in this movie. It's like E.T. meets Godzilla.
If you go and see it,
meets Return of the Zombies.
Try to go to like maybe
the early show.
Yeah, where
forget
you're not spending
3D
any money.
Because I didn't see any 3D.
Yeah.
There was no 3D, so just go see it regular in the morning. There was
Aladdin
no 3D.
was better in 3D.
Yes,
yeah,
Aladdin was beautiful.
Excellent.
Now listen.
Yeah.
The only 3D I saw was in the beginning when they were showing you like the hieroglyphics, okay? And then that was okay. That kind of came at you. Yeah. But other than that, so look. So they go through and they're doing all this, right? And then it's just the writing was the stupidest premise that you could have for a film.
So, but the acting was good. I mean, but the script was
no. We're gonna break it down. But listen, it was one of the stupidest.
Johnny says eyes rolling. Who came up with this damn script? Not going to see the mess.
I mean, it's one of the stupidest premises ever. And then you sitting up there, and then the daughter is looking at her mama like, you stupid. Then now wait a minute now. At first you thought that the caterpillar was gonna be something, but when it comes out, what's his name is in the film? Professor Pope.
Oh, Papa Pope.
That Papa Pope is in the film. Yeah. And when the thing had cocooned itself under a waterfall to make the cocoon to come out. And when it came out, it went woo, and they were all like, oh, and all of a sudden the thing that seemed like it was going to harm people, all of a sudden seemed nice. And I'm like, I don't understand this. And then all of a sudden, all these creatures, you get something that looks like a big oversized mastodon. I don't know who came up with that. Oversized mastodon destroyed. Now listen, they have, because all these things are radioactive, because what makes the earth rotate and what makes the earth regenerate is the radioactivity underneath the molten lava. When the molten lava stops, they say we got about 96 million more years to go. When the molten lava stops, the earth will stop and it will be a dead rock in the universe. It'll be dead, devoid of life. Like when islands, I remember they had the Mighty Joe Young out, black and white, and the islands sunk. This is true. Right. Islands do sink once they lose their radioactivity, their volcano. Like certain Hawaiian islands die off because they move from off of the volcanic. Well, anyway, look that up. That's geography. But anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent. Let me reel myself back in. So look, all these things are radioactive, and they're blowing all this radioactive wind, and all the people are in it. I said they're gonna die in about 6 months because their lungs are gonna cave in on themselves from all this radioactivity. So all this stuff was just unbelievable. Godzilla but oh man. Anyway, listen.
People were falling asleep in the theater.
So we're sitting there,
like literally, because I did talk to someone.
And I'm like,
she fell asleep in the theater too.
Because we kind of get polls when we come there. What did you think about that? Right?
Yeah, we do. We talk to a lot of people after.
And so, you're sitting there and you're watching this farce on the screen, and it's a love story between a moth and a dinosaur, and then there's the family dynamic. The mama came up with this harebrained scheme. The people seem like they evil, but really she was with it. And then the daughter steals the box and heads to what is that stadium in Boston? Anyway, they go to the ballpark in Boston, and she sets this up, and then somehow Fenway Park, and then somehow all of the dinosaurs lead there, and then radioactive alien comes down in the spaceship. I tell you, I thought the mothership had landed for Parliament. You gonna have to see this to believe it. Wait a minute now. So then all this is going on, right? And then all of a sudden the mama finds Jesus, and then she decides to put the thing back together. It works, and they decide to draw the thing away. Meanwhile, Godzilla somehow dies, and meanwhile, dude goes underneath the water, comes up in this air pocket where Godzilla is recharging with the molten lava from underneath. Because if you don't know, that's why there's tsunamis and things, because of molten lava. Look that up. So I can tell you that as far as telling the story from a scientific standpoint, they were right on with using that. That was scientific. The script, on the other hand, so he goes up there and says, "See you later, old friend." And then as you know, the atomic blast goes off. Godzilla comes back. He blows up in the army. It's just ridiculous. And then he goes and fights the alien. And then it's just really something.
Seems like that other monster got more time than Godzilla. The three-headed one.
So listen. So I said, wait a minute. They're gonna show us something, right? So I said, we sat back down because I said, they're going to show us something. So they start, instead of showing you a live action scene, they start showing you montages of clips. The Titans can be used for electrical energy sources. So they're showing you all the positive things can be used for the Titans, right? And then instead of showing you a live action scene, they cut to the final part of the montage before they go to the credits, and they show you in hieroglyphics King Kong and Godzilla.
Skull Island.
So because you know where Skull Island is, so that means the evil people can go to Skull Island, and then here comes and every time you go to Skull Island, you're messing with King Kong. And King Kong is nothing but a baby, come to find out from the Samuel L. Jackson version of the film. That he's nothing but a baby. He's not even full grown yet. His parents were killed by the some kind of creature. I forget. But anyway, so at the end, so they say, so that's what's coming next, people, is somehow Godzilla and King Kong. Listen,
the only way I would go and see that is if the same director that did King Kong
with Samuel
Jackson, if he does that, then I'll go see.
And it's the same production.
And if it's the same production, but other than that,
because I was more entertained. Because listen, it's a disappointment because we came up on the dude in the plastic suit. The Japanese dude in the plastic Godzilla suit, and Godzilla had his little offspring or whatever, and then they fought the creatures, and we grew up watching that on Saturday mornings. They showed us all the Godzilla films.
So you're
on
saying
Saturday
it couldn't
morning.
compare to that?
It
wasn't even as good
because of the fact that you're sitting up there with a love story between a moth and a dinosaur.
And it took a long time for them to show
Godzilla.
Right. So it's like
it was like you were supposed to know this storyline already.
Had it been 45 minutes?
I think it was 45 minutes before they got to Godzilla.
That's crazy.
We might be exaggerating, but I don't think so. It went through a whole build-up.
If it wasn't 45 minutes, it had to be 30.
They went through a whole build-up of, wife, why are you doing this? Can I have my daughter?
Right, it's just like a soap opera.
Dad, daughter pulls back to the mother. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff.
Though? We got to get to the other film.
Okay. The CGI After Effects, all that use of live action, it's dampened because the storyline wasn't that good. So I'm gonna give that a 6. Because even Godzilla didn't look like the previous Godzillas that we had seen, right? So he wasn't menacing or nothing because he dies for the most part. After 10 minutes in, you see him, he has a battle, and then next thing you know, he falls down and he dies somehow. You have to see that for yourself. And then it's like, well, this isn't a strong character, so that's just, Godzilla never he might retreat. I don't even remember him retreating in the shit. But anyway, so so that's a 6. The storyline is a 0.
Right.
The acting between the moth and the dinosaur, I'm gonna give that a 10 because that's just totally unbelievable. That's a 10. The alien situation, that's a 0.
Okay.
The Japanese scientist, the Chinese man playing the Japanese scientist.
He did a good job.
He did a good job. I'll give him about a 7.
Yeah.
Old girl from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Right.
You know, as an older figure, when she put her hand up to her face when she was doing her crying, you see her face looks real young, but when you put her hands up, oh my God. And so, she was okay, lackluster. I would give Rihanna in that one War Game film, I Sunk Your Battleship. I give her more credit than that, and her in acting. So I'm gonna give her a 5.
Okay.
Right? The family dynamic in it, 0.
Right.
It was it the king of all monster movies? No. Was it the king of taking your money at the box office? In our opinion, out your pocket at the box office, in our opinion, my opinion, yes. What about your opinion? Is it the...
I would give it a 5.
Okay.
So, if you do go and see it, go to,
be well rested.
If you have a child if you have a child that is excited about seeing the film, go to like an early matinee. That way you won't have to pay the full ticket price. And you're right. Be well rested.
We're well rested because it's a long.
Yeah,
in fact, this is not a kid. This is
film.
not a kid's movie because I didn't see any kids in the theater.
That's what I was thinking, and this is disappointing because the way they push it.
It was pushed for Gen X.
Yeah, and then you see the Godzilla and the monsters in the trailer, and that would make some kids say, "Oh, I want to go see that." Maybe little boys or whatever, maybe some little girls too. But then it's just like by the time they show Godzilla and the other monsters, the darn it's just like the whole freaking storyline between the adults and the family and the love relation.
And
it's
the
just
moth
like,
and the dinosaur.
I mean, it's just I don't think it's for a kid, but I think the child will fall asleep in the theater.
I think so.
We had grown-ups falling asleep in the theater, so
I mean, it was long.
It was long.
The pacing was off. I mean, it was just not worth.
The acting was good, but what they had to work with
was horrible, which brought the acting down.
Yeah,
Okay, so we just rated that, so we'll move on for that. Now, we come to like I said, this was supposed to be the big weekend. Everything was still out.
Right.
Aladdin was out. We told you about Aladdin.
Last
Go
week.
see Aladdin.
Excellent.
But Aladdin is still out in the theater. It's part of one of them.
Because I would actually sit through
summer Aladdin again.
I would sit through Aladdin again.
That's right. Other films are still out, right?
Right.
So we come to Rocket Man.
Yes.
And the question is, does it stand up to Bohemian Rhapsody, which is the story of Freddie Mercury and Queen?
And the Rocket Man is about Elton John.
That's right, about Elton John.
Okay. So let's...
And both of them are English.
Right.
And so UK. So,
the different parts of
UK. So we decided we would go see this because,
we love music.
And Queen had rock and roll music,
right.
And so does Elton John. Okay. So you find out that Elton John didn't really know that he was homosexual until a black soul backup singer kisses him in the hallway. Blame it on the blacks.
I don't think so. Because when he was little, there's a
blame
scene,
it on the blacks.
I don't want to give the film because you have to go and
don't
see
give
it.
the film. But I mean, that stands out to me.
That stood out to you.
But
actually, when you see the film, there are like evidence, that he's gay as a little kid. There's one scene, wait a minute, that even his father comments on something. He said, "You're a little boy. You shouldn't be," so.
I mean, but it's like there's no molestation that happens.
Well, maybe he wasn't.
There's no whatever, but he just comes up. So anyway,
this movie was so honest. You know,
yeah, no, it's honest.
It's so honest that had anything happened to him, it would have been told in the story.
Yeah,
but I'll let you go ahead.
So he starts. So it starts out and opens up. Elton John is walking down a hallway in a. You've seen this in the trailer, so this is not a thing. He's walking down with devil horns and red devil wings, and he's walking down the corridor, and he's walking towards something, and you don't know what it is that he's. But
we're not going to tell you because it's a great.
Next
film,
thing you know, it switches, and you learn, and it starts out with a little boy, and it's him following his little self in this.
Well done.
In this musical sequence.
Well done.
It's more like
Broadway.
Well, it's a Broadway piece, but it's more like Glee. You know, like how the storyline will be happening in Glee, and then next thing you know, they break out in song to tell the story. Like two people walking down the hallway, they like each other, and they break out in song, and other people start coming in and dancing and stuff. Fame, I want to live, kind of like that, right? Yeah. So it opens up. So right then and there, it opens up, and you say, this is not Bohemian Rhapsody, because Bohemian Rhapsody played more like a biopic.
Okay.
Right? So that's the difference right there. It played more like a biopic, and then when the song sequences came up, live performance sequences, that's when you would hear the music, or if they were practicing music. So this automatically opened up into I said, oh, this is not Bohemian Rhapsody. That's one thing. It was Glee. Right. Okay.
And this movie kept me awake.
Okay.
Bohemian Rhapsody put me to sleep.
Okay, so
although it was good,
I can tell you already, the little boy deserves an Oscar nomination for playing young Elton John, right? 4 or 5 year old Elton John. The guy who plays Elton John deserves, because you want to know why? Because he sings all of Elton John's songs, and at points it turns into harmonies where they're singing together. So he deserves an Oscar for that. Plus his acting, going from teenage 19, 20-year-old all the way up into his 60s, I'll say. Yeah. Elton John, beautifully done. That's what it is. So it opens up as a musical. So I said, okay, so this is going to be a musical, right? It's not just a biopic, right? So the way that they pass time along, beautiful pacing in the film, beautiful. The way they go, there's a boy that plays little, and there's one that plays like preteen, and then there's him who plays from teenager up, right? It starts with a little boy. He's got a new bouffant hairdo, and then next thing you know, he's in a bar dive like that. He starts, they play, he runs outside, it goes to a park scene. What I also love, amusement park scene. What I also love about the film, it is not diversity, it is multicultural. Yes. Meaning that, you know, like you'll watch some of the documentaries, and the documentary filmmakers, because they were bigoted and racist, will not show you who's actually in the room with the Rolling Stones or Elton John or any of the other rockers that came from overseas. But what you find is Elton John, they show you who's in the room with them at all times, and it's a multicultural piece. Majority black people. Because what you find is they tell you the truth about where they got the rock and roll from. Right? So it goes that, and then so they go to the amusement park piece, and then then when he goes through a wooden gate, he comes out, he's now 1920. Right? Then when he comes back, they show you the change of the bar and what's going on. Then it goes into the next stage of his life.
Right.
Beautifully shot. The pacing on it, beautifully done, right? The turmoil in his family life, well depicted. Like I said, it's a musical. So each one of his family members are along with him within the song. Beautifully shot, and it makes you say, what? Like, for him to have done what he did under the circumstances he was under, it would be, it's unbelievable. But just think about people who do that, who are ADOS or black, who come from shanty towns. These aren't just there are poor Europeans and poor European Americans, but then there are people who would, if they were in shanty towns, like black people are in shanty towns, then there are any Jamaican artists that grew up in shanty towns and they come out to the world to make it. Bob Marley, perfect example. Bob Marley's condition well worse than Elton John's, right? Then you take anyone. They come out. Take Jay-Z's existence, right? Well worse, because you have the component of racism thrown on top, bigotry, unfair housing, segregation, all that thrown in, and the people still rise. So even though Elton John's situation was bad, still not as bad as ADOS or a black person globally. Sorry. But for what he was able to do, the mental strain on him, and him able to come through, with all the substances and all that was being ingested. Incredible. I
would say definitely go and see this film, because he did not gloss over like anything.
No.
I mean, it's just like, we're not going to tell the film because we want you to go see the film, but you learn so much more regarding what Elton John went through. So it wasn't just like drugs and alcohol. Hi, Chelsea.
Thanks for chiming in.
It wasn't just drugs and alcohol. He had so many other vices, like tons of different things he was dealing with. And he did like an excellent job. Normally, when an artist is alive, their biography is kind of like, they try to gloss over it. They give you a little bit that, I had issues in this area, or difficult time growing up, but I mean, Elton John like took the Band-Aid off, and it was raw. And so he gave his life to us on a platter, and he was honest, and it was well done. Cinematography is beautiful. Costume design, amazing. Elton John's costumes were amazing, as well as the jury. The directing was just excellent. And like you said, with the music intertwined, like the singing, and so between the dialogue and like the musical, just well done. The film editing was beautiful. Makeup and hair, like I said, amazing. And then just, of course, for Elton John, capturing the period beautifully. But then when you look at like all the other characters, right, their hair and their makeup, I mean, it was fitting, that period. The cars, just everything. They did a great job. You felt like you were actually there. The music, Elton John's music, amazing, of course. And it was fitting. Like the song selections fit like every scene. And what I loved about it is like the different songs, because he wrote it with his best friend, his writing partner, right? So you were able to see where they were, where Elton John was, as well as his friend too, his best friend, but where Elton John was mentally during the time he wrote this song and that song and this song, because it fit each scene. So it's like, oh wow, this is why he wrote this song. And then he's singing it, and you can visually, you're seeing what's going on, and the lyrics are like hitting at your heartstrings, because of course, you know, his music sounds great, but when you're able to visually see what's going on, and whether it was like a sad period that was going on in his life or a happy period, you're able to connect more. Like, it was well done with the music, well done. The musical numbers, we talked about that. They have some great musical numbers. The dance scenes and stuff were great. The production design, excellent. Like we said, the time period, it's just perfect. Because it was fitting. Like, you can tell from his age when he was a little boy, and the costume design and the production, it fit that period. Like you said, when he was a teenager and then when he was an adult, you know. So, and then you see the clothing change, the cars change, the housings change. I mean, just, they did a great job. And of course, the visual effects were amazing. So I don't even want to talk about that, but there's some visual effects.
There's some after effects going on.
Yeah, amazing.
There's a scene when he's writing how it's a surreal. It goes into surreal areas in the imagery, 3D. Right?
This should have been done in 3D.
See, the surreal when he comes up with Rocket Man,
right?
It's amazing.
It is beautiful.
And how it is. That's why when you see it, you'll see why I say the little boy needs to have an Oscar nomination and possibly a win, because you'll just see it. You have to see it. It's well done for everything that she said.
The writing.
The writing, the script, pacing, everything is just on point, and you will enjoy this film. It's an enjoyable film. Does it measure up to Bohemian Rhapsody? No.
I say yes.
I say no, because it's two different types of storytelling,
so that's why
of a biopic. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so that's why I say it doesn't compare. Both because they are on a high level in their own type of storytelling. Right. So it doesn't compare. So we wouldn't compare it
like Michael Jackson and Prince. You wouldn't compare.
Right, you wouldn't compare the two because their sounds were different, but they were high on that plateau, right? Yeah. So that's why I say there is no comparison.
If you aren't a John Elton fan, or let's say if you're not familiar with him, I would definitely go and see this film, because you would enjoy the film because it's well done.
If you're not familiar with Queen,
right,
go rent Bohemian Rhapsody or go stream it. Right. You'll enjoy it.
Because wait a minute, if you're not a John Elton fan, by the time an Elton John film, you would definitely be one by the time you walk out.
All right, so out of all that, what would you rate the film?
A 10.
Okay.
I'm glad that we saw it, because it was redeeming, because those other two movies.
That's right. We thought we were.
I was not happy with although I love Octavia Spencer and her acting is good, but that film was a disappointment.
I thought.
Was not happy with Godzilla. It was disappointing. The cast was great. The acting was great. Like O'Shea Jackson, and Papa Pope was great in the film, as well as the rest of the actors. The acting was great in Godzilla. It's just the script was crappy. Yeah. But I'm telling you, this Elton John's film, Rocket Man, is amazing.
Amazing. I have to say, I give it a 10. Yeah. It is well worth going to the theater to see, and you will be very impressed in the way that they tell the story. It's another way. So that's a 10. So there's a new Julie Garland film coming out, starring Renee Zellweger. We haven't seen her in a while. She, from the preview, she embodies the character. And what I want to say about Maya is I thought the trailer was okay, and I thought that the movie would probably be better than the trailer. No. The Godzilla trailer, the trailer is way better than the film. I thought that the trailer, I said, this is, every time we would see it for the last 6 months, I said, this is going to be a good movie right here. This is a Godzilla, that's going to be good. The trailer is way better than the movie. It fooled us. As far as Rocket Man trailer set up the film,
Right.
and then the film knocks it out the park.
Yeah.
So definitely go see that film at your own risk. At the other ones, but just go see Mom, because Octavia Spencer, she does do some pretty good acting
acting is
in
great.
it, but the story is just crap, and so is the Godzilla story crap, in our opinion. But the Elton John story, biopic, musical, beautifully done. All right, so this has been another great episode of the Film Review Music Review Show in 4 parts.
Right. Yeah,
Thanks,
don't
Facebook.
forget to see Ava DuVernay's on Netflix.
Yeah, when they see us.
Yes.
That's right. So thanks.
It's a limited series, so check it out. Make sure you.
All right. We finished?
Yeah.
Okay. So this has been
No, I'm just messing with you.
okay. This has been another great episode of the Film Review.
Yes.
Movies, music, culture, politics, and society.
Yes.
We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D,
Tracy.
and we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And we'll see you next week on the
Shani
Film
said
Review.
good night.
Good night.
Good night.
This is another great episode of the Film Review. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. We are the husband and wife team. Stay tuned. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracy.
And this is the Film Review. Stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about. We are the husband and wife team that review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracy.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. Sunday at 5:30 on Crazy on Dion page on Facebook. Live stream the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. This is the Film Review.